Patrick Mahomes has been the topic of great number of discussion after having a second season of statistical, falling short of expectations. I would not say it's on tape because his 2023 tape doesn't necessarily say that. Um, it was more the surroundings in that case. Even with the issues that we had on offense in 2024 surrounding what he did, the way I wanted to approach this is kind of twofold. DP had mentioned wanting to look at some of the Houston Texans tape, which I think is really good tape to look at, specifically for how good, great, I should say, the Texans defensive roster is and is expected to be next year. I included the Denver Broncos tape as well because I thought it was a little bit indicative for both of these defenses that are excellent as far as the perimeter is concerned, and really good up front, and challenge you to make very difficult throws really to the intermediate portions of the field. And so what I did is I kind of put together a compilation of the intermediate air yards, specifically throws that Patrick Mahomes had against the Denver Broncos in that first matchup because he only played them once, and the Houston Texans, both the regular season and the postseason. And there's a few things as we go through this that I will highlight, and we can obviously talk together through this as well. I do believe that this is going to be the two best defenses that we're going to see, next year. And I think the Ravens are really good, but I would still have them ahead of them. Do you guys have any disagreement as far as that's concerned?
No, I'm in full agreement. Denver's going to be the toughest defense you probably face all year.
Those are the top two for sure. But right now, based off familiarity, Denver has to be number one because they see us so much. So that'll be Denver. Baltimore will be a tough matchup as well when you add a guy like Jair Alexander and add Malik Starks, which is a crazy combo to add to an already good defense. But these guys specifically right here see us so often. They know all of our motions. They know all of the things we like to do, especially in third down and in the red zone. So this will be the tougher defense for me if I had to pick one for sure.
Yeah, and I do want to highlight here, like again, the intermediate passing game being a big piece of this, but the ability to, be able to bring that front down, get those eyes from the linebackers, the second, level, looking in the wrong direction, specifically if you have a run defense, threat as far as that's concerned, which our run game was efficient last year, but not explosive, especially as we got later on to the year, wasn't even efficient at a certain point as well, after Joe Tooney had to kick out. But you have to be able to bring those guys in, and then also, even if you don't have the actual deep completions, just give them the threat of that as well. And so this is an example, little play action out of some 12 personnel with Noah Gray playing the fullback role. Travis Kelce on a route that we've seen, plenty of times, just playing that corner and being able to stretch him deep with Jalen Watson to open up that portion. Kareem Hunt underneath kind of holds the linebacker, and linebacker can't get out to that corner. And, Travis Kelce, who even took a step backwards, still can be able to convert those plays as well. And we'll see it from a reverse angle. A little bit of motion to kind of, get the defense looking the wrong way. Offensive line does a pretty good job of protection here, providing a really solid pocket. No issues as far as that's concerned. And that's one of the things when you see on tape a lot. When Patrick Mahomes is kept clean as far as the pocket is concerned, there wasn't issues last year. But that's the theme of the entirety of the season as far as that's concerned. And, the other thing is you'll see this interspersed throughout some of these plays, but this is an example of the magic still being there for Mahomes, where things can go wrong, guys can be covered, and he can still make it happen. As he makes, Zach Allen there miss, Samaje Perine did a really good job on the scramble drill, being able to break himself open there, and Mahomes able to get outside the pocket to create an explosive play, which he had to do a lot of last year. Or I shouldn't say he had to do a lot of. He was actually missing a lot of that element of it last year because the play was unfortunately over too quickly from that aspect. So he shrugs off Nick Bonito. Is able to make that play to Samaje Perine. And I will show this from the reverse angle just really quickly to show, just watch the top of the screen, because this is the shot that he was going to take to Xavier Worthy. Didn't necessarily feel great about that shot there.
That footage safety, he could have got that one.
Yeah, and some of this is a part of the left tackle losing in this moment, which I think maybe spooked him a little bit, and just the needed trust that him and Xavier Worthy needed to continue to work on as the season went on, which we saw a little bit later on in the season too. I'm continuing to talk, but do you guys have anything specifically that you want to add as far as Patrick Mahomes, kind of in the larger context of playing versus these difficult matchups and being able to throw the ball to the intermediate area of the field?
For us, I mean, this is we see it so often. Like You see it so
It
often.
becomes normal.
Yeah, it just becomes normal.
At
Like
the
it's not a, and that's not a to be a cocky or anything like that. It's just he does it so often.
great touch. Oh my god.
You know, I hate hearing people saying the down year, and I understand like yeah, the statistics weren't there or whatever, but you have to look at a full context of things that are happening on the field. If he even has comparable left tackle play last year, I think his numbers are a lot better than they were. He just was working with so much that was going on the field last year that they didn't make a lot. It
Yeah.
still went 15-2.
Hmm.
No, for sure.
I do think, and CJ, I'm gonna get your thoughts here in a second, but I did want to pause it here. This is an example of how Patrick Mahomes has evolved as a quarterback and being able to win with his mind. Here, he is, making the determination. Hey, we are going to slide, obviously away from it. He knows the play is going to end up going to that flood side of the field, to the boundary side because it's on the right hash. And I'll show this for a second because I think it's important to see it here. So he slides away from it. He knows where the route combination is going to be. He knows if they're going to send an extra guy from that side, then that means that's one less guy to deal with that flood concept. And this is all diagnosed pre-snap. So he's saying, hey, if you guys block it up this way and they send an extra guy, then I'm responsible for being able to make the throw with that blitzer in his face. And that's exactly what he does. And he puts it right on the money. And that's an understanding that he has been able to do with his comfortability in this offense, and being able to spend time there. So he can account for things that other quarterbacks are still trying to, obviously learn how to do. And certainly within this offense, he has a mastery to a point where he can be able to adjust on the fly to those sorts of aspects of it. And so, Justin Watson deep, Jay Worthy underneath, DeAndre Hopkins uncovers on that corner route.
I love it. I love our bunch. I've said this from the beginning. Anytime we can stack our bunch, that's when we get the most explosiveness out of this group, especially when you have guys like Hollywood, ironically, who's in this play right here. We have him, Zay, all bunched up together. Then you add a guy like Rashid to that. It's almost pick your poison at that point. Who do you want to let get the ball? So, and it brings so much confusion, especially from teams like Houston, like Denver, like D-Max earlier, who love to play man. So you're just trying to make them get confused and get their eyes mixed up, get guys caught in traffic. And that's clearly what they do here. Obviously, Zay gives them a good release, gives Hollywood a clear go to this corner or sail route, and lets them get out there and make a play.
Yeah. And like you said, you mentioned the man portion of this, and I broke this down in season as well. They're locked up here, and the Texans want to be aggressive. They're adding a fifth rusher, both to occupy Creed and also be a little bit of a spy on Mahomes. They got the deep high safety to make sure nothing gets over the top. And, the reality situation is it's very difficult to defend a bunch set with man. It just is, especially when you have the speed out there of a Xavier Worthy, of a Hollywood Brown as well. And ultimately, like, no grades are wasted on the backside here, but this is about what happens on the front side of this bunch set. And Hollywood Brown gets himself pretty well open there, and Mahomes hits him on the money, and that's a nice explosive play. And that's always going to be the sort of design and read offense that Mahomes can take advantage of.
Yeah, I honestly think that this when get into this portion of the year, this is honestly probably one of his more efficient games of the year where he actually did get comparable offensive line play, and you've seen when he's able to be protected, um, how efficient he can be uh, in the passing game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to add,
Great route.
as far as this game is concerned, or these three games, I should say, is concerned, the Chiefs did not complete a deep pass throughout the entirety of this game. So even that's kind of what even not necessarily being able to complete it, but just having the threat of the speed out there can do. Obviously, last year was Justin Watson for a good portion of it, and Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown for a very brief stretch, even though we didn't use him as much there. But you be able to bring in a guy like Jalen Royals that can get down the field. You obviously use him in more of that Justin Watson role. And then you add the Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown element there together for a full season after Worthy's development, and then obviously Rashid Rice underneath. Then those things come a little bit more into focus. But the fact that we were able to complete these intermediate passes even without that aspect of it is pretty impressive as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
And like you said, great route by Trav. Once again, just filling the space in the open zone. Mahomes
Hook it up
rolls out
short.
to create that window.
First down.
Recognize the single high.
They try to
They
give a
obviously,
big gap look, backed out of
yeah,
it.
yeah, they backed out of it to a little bit of a cover three, or maybe even cover three. It's
Big
cover three.
three.
And then again, the Texans run a really well-oiled machine. Rather, the situation is this is what I think Kelsey is going to be, where you're not going to see a whole lot of peppering of targets, maybe not necessarily, but there are going to be these key money downs, like you see here, is 3rd and 10, where Mahomes is looking to Kelsey to convert. And I think that that's a formula where the wide receivers are the primary guys, and we'll talk about this more as we get into the weapons. And Kelsey is the guy that moves the sticks. That's a formula next year that's going to end up working for us pretty effectively.
Mm-hmm. Brought forward, drop. Pat got out of it. He knew where he wanted to go immediately.
Yeah, I think once he sees the safeties kind of rotate down to that cover 3 look, I think he kind of knew where he was already gonna see is kind of pointing in that direction anyway.
And look, that's the thing with this, maybe assuming to be Kelsey's last year. That's the mind melt him and Kelsey have, where you just trust him that he's going to end up getting into the zone. And shout out Noah Gray here, does a really good job sealing that edge with Daniil Hunter. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as we get into the weapon depth chart as well. The last one I included here, at least from the Texans game specifically, is this man-to-man route to DeAndre Hopkins at the bottom of the screen. And this, obviously, DeAndre Hopkins has a very specific skill set and a skill set that was useful last year. But I don't think that this is a throw that is just outside the realm of possibility from the standpoint of this. We've seen Rashee Rice be successful down the field catching that deep target versus Cincinnati. I think Jalen Royals can give guys a little bit of issues as far as being able to try and cover deep as far as that's concerned. So these throws, and we've seen it with Juju too, these throws may, continue to be infrequent, but it's not like they're not available. It's just about if the wide receivers can make them happen, because Mahomes understands the timing of them very well. And obviously DeAndre Hopkins, being the veteran that he is, can always convert those. And I think now we are into the playoff game here versus the Houston Texans. Chiefs come out a little bit of a full house look and kind of mix it up here with Noah Gray going over to the right side. And this is just another way to get into those flood concepts that we love to go to as far as Travis Kelce is concerned, with Xavier Worthy stretching the field deep.
It's Sersky. Another bunch stat concept, but D-Man said just to get them confused, just to get their eyes looking in the wrong area. Obviously, anytime you get Travis free release, everybody's looking at Pat instead of looking at him. Easy money.
Yeah, when you come out of that come out in that full house, that second level, because you can see 39, and they're playing pretty much a dime defense in this case versus versus a 12 personnel set. 39, 23, those guys, 27, also you can include them. These are 8 guys in the box, and you can see where their first steps end up coming forward as far as this play is concerned. They're expecting some type of run play to Pacheco, and then you just give enough of those false steps to get Travis Kelce to sneak in behind, and Mahomes can put it on the money there. So go ahead, DG.
No, I was saying this is when Chiefs get to playoff football, you always see a different wrinkle, a different
critique.
Yeah, they went to the back of the playbook for this one. I think it's one of those things where they always save a couple things for teams to give different looks. You just played this team not even 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of knew that you were going to have to give them something else to kind of look at, and just very well executed once they get into the playoffs, man.
Absolutely. Especially like D-Man said, when they go into those dime personnel and they have a lot of DBs on the field, you want to add tight ends to kind of offset that, because now you're thinking, okay, we have to be overactive to any run action, so then you can slip out the tight end. That's the good thing about having 2 to 3 tight ends, and hopefully we can see a lot more of that this year with guys like Brenningstool, and hopefully Jared Wiley is healthy as well, so where we can get some of those offsets that we can use and take advantage of those, especially in big-time games like this in the playoffs for sure.
I will say one thing. This deep safety back here, this long, deep safety, that's going to be disrespectful this year.
You got to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
I think,
especially with number 5 and number 1 on the field, you got to take
the complement of weapons that you have this year. You should take that as a sign of disrespect.
Absolutely. Especially on the 30, boy.
Especially, when we transition from the years of Tyreek Hill, seeing the cover 2s and things of that nature, to go into offensive, death by paper cuts or whatever. think this year now you're going to see that explosion come back into this offense again, and that safety, that deep safety is getting cooked this year.
This is a big green zone. This is Hollywood Zay time right now for sure. I can get a deep over, get an X release, scissor release, whatever you want to do. But if they do want to play single high with number 5 and number 1 on the field, they both should eat for sure.
You and get comfortable tackle play and have your complementary receivers healthy. Good night.
It's of course a little different when you have Juju at the top of the screen locked up with Darius Staley.
Respect Juju.
Of course, no, respect to Juju. But compared to when it could be Rashee Rice down here or up here at the top of the screen instead. Now, again, you talk about obviously the wrinkles that the Chiefs like to bring out when it comes down to playoff football. And of course, that includes Xavier Worthy here in the backfield. And this is just another way to kind of get him in a little bit of a favorable matchup. They do a little sidestep motion, get Xavier Worthy on a little bit of a slot fade there. And Xavier Worthy makes an excellent play. Mahomes puts it on the money, and this is indicative again of the growth throughout the entirety of the season of trusting Xavier Worthy in some of these one-on-one moments to be able to make a play. And they obviously say, hey, we know it's going to be man coverage. Mahomes says, all right, well, I feel like if I give you a ball with leverage, you're going to go up and get the ball. That's exactly what Xavier ends up doing. And for all the talk about Xavier Worthy being light, for Xavier Worthy being a gadget receiver, a guy that can't get the job done, he had this catch, and then he had to get a catch versus the Bills. That was a contested catch situation. He's a real wide receiver, folks. This isn't Mecole Hardman. This isn't Kadarius Toney. Respectfully to both of those guys, but this is a real wide receiver that understands how to get the job done. And he came up big throughout the entirety of down the stretch. We saw it in all 3 playoff games, even with the Super Bowl, given the circumstances. Xavier Worthy can step up, and Mahomes trusts him to do so as well. This is more traditional of a route here, but this is indicative once again when you have 1 in 5 on the field, the teams feel like there is a horizontal stretch that ends up happening as far as the middle of the field is concerned, and so the teams are really concerned about those crossers or those mesh concepts that end up giving them issues. So what they do with Xavier and Hollywood Brown, they just say, hey, we're going to run mesh return and see how they can end up dealing with it. And ultimately, as far as this is concerned, they run that mesh return. The middle linebackers are concerned, bro. They're lost. He's out the way looking at Noah Gray. He's dealing with Xavier Worthy and the running back to the bottom of the screen, and all it leaves is 87 with a whole lot of green grass and one man to beat, which he ends up doing. Runs through another tackle, gets himself open. Travis Kelce rumbling and stumbling down to the 5. And so that horizontal stretch aspect of having Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown on the field is a really big piece of what this offense can bring to the table. And that opens things up for 87, opens things up for Noah Gray, and opens things up for a healthy Rashee Rice as well, which we never got to see last year.
Gotta respect it. Gotta respect that speed. Get him 87. Get them old legs. Pick them knees up. Travis, if I was 10 years younger, I'd score.
You better get him, Trav.
You better get him.
You better get him, Trav.
You better get him, Trav.
Travis was so tired after that play. I know he was sucking wind. He's like,
oh, absolutely.
Man, I'm tired.
Hey, look, and this is, hey, you want to play man-to-man coverage? This is great, but even 36-year-old Travis Kelce, ain't too many corners that can stick with Travis Kelce, and that's the reality of the situation. Little dig route, I'm going to get open. It's going to be open. I'm going to go right around you. I'm going to get it inside the 10 again, man.
Hey, 10 catches for 100 yards in the tutty. Old man still got it every now and then. Could rev up the engine a couple times.
Don't get me wrong. The Broncos have a good DB room. Obviously, adding Barron to it. The Ravens have a good DB room. Texans have a good DB room. You're not going to find any teams that got the guys to match up man-to-man with the complement of receivers that we have in general to go and get it. And so Travis Kelce beating that bullet one-on-one there is indicative of that. Going to get Kelce motioning to the bottom of the screen with a little bit of a bunch here. And this, of course, is the magic portion of it. And I wanted to end on this one just a reminder. Like, Mahomes can do this. These are things that Mahomes can do. And people are acting like this still isn't the best quarterback in the league.
He was down here.
He had it down here. Give me that.
He can fall down and put the ball right behind your middle linebacker.
On the money.
Not a problem.
Yes.
Perfect spot.
Burrow can do that.
Right in between the 8 and the 7, by the way. On the money.
What a D lineman hanging on his leg. Come on, man. Stop playing with him.
So yeah, so that's the Patrick Mahomes portion. As far as the really great defenses that we were able to face last year with the Broncos and the Texans, and again talking about the intermediate passing game, which is going to be the biggest portion of this. Um, Again, that goes hand in hand with actually having a consistent run game. Hopefully that can come back. Obviously, with feeling a little bit better about the interior offensive line, and then also being able to stretch the field deep, which comes back and horizontally as far as that's concerned, with having Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy on the field at the same time with Rashee Rice, of course. So the other thing was that Mr. CJ wanted to talk a little bit about the kind of AFC Championship game. And the thing that I'm going to talk about here is kind of the theme of Mahomes on these money drives. And I think it's important to talk about this aspect of it because Patrick Mahomes, gets a lot of talk like, is QB wins really a thing, et cetera, et cetera. Josh Allen has had the ball in his hands the last 2 times that they've matched up with the Chiefs. He's had opportunities to go down the field, either tie the game or go up with a touchdown. And both times he left the field down by 3 points that he started the game with. So there is an aspect of, hey, when the ball is in your hands and it comes down to crunch time in the playoffs, can you get the job done? And that's something that Patrick Mahomes has very rarely failed at his entire career. And hasn't done necessarily in recent vintage. And people will point to the Super Bowl, but there really wasn't a chance for that, to be fair. And obviously, we've seen the clutch aspect of it. So we're just going to roll through the last 2 drives versus the Bills. One a touchdown drive, one a field goal drive. Ultimately, that would be the game-winning field goal. And we'll start in here with a little bit of Patrick Mahomes scramble, which is an aspect of his game that obviously he turns up to a different level when we get down to playoff time, because obviously he feels like it's necessary to do so. Let me see if I can rewind this. Yeah, I just wanted to get to I always feel like whenever a quarterback scrambles, I want to go back to the top of the drop and see if there was somebody open that he ended up missing, just for film purposes, really. Because I think it's indicative and important to say, hey, is this guy scrambling for the right reasons or is he scrambling for the wrong reasons? And so you get the top of the drop, like there's an argument maybe to go ahead and dump this off here. But also there's an argument, do you want to test Hollywood Brown here in this aspect of it, or just say, hey, can we put the guy in conflict? And here he just puts him in conflict and goes ahead, runs it down. And understandably so, where Patrick Mahomes is at in this game, where he's like, I don't really want to create a turnover by having an inadvertent throw in that aspect. And I think that makes a lot of sense too.
And it's first down. Like even in here, there's no need to force it. Get positive yards, make it second and medium, second and short. You don't need to force that throw. So you're already going to be in the positive side of the field anyway. So take the guaranteed yards. You're good enough. And we know Pat loves to run when it's January time anyway. So
I think he's gotten to the point of maturity where he knows you can do too much at certain points in times. And if we're gonna lose, then we're gonna lose on my feet and with the ball in my hands. So I have no issues, especially when we get to January with him running. If that's what he feels like needs to be done for us to win a game, I trust him in those situations. Pull it down and go for it and get it. That's why I think this game to me, I think mentally and stat wise, I think it was probably the best game of the year. And I think he saved it for the right moment to get us to the Super Bowl to have a chance to three-peat.
I love having Juju off the bench. He's a classic 6-man. I know I say this every year, and I started that hashtag Juju catches everything. As much as we love Pat in the clutch, Juju is one of our clutchest players, bro. He cannot catch a ball like a month and then come off the bench and have 2 of the biggest plays in the playoffs for us. So
Pat had some great throws.
And this one and the one that started the game. That one beginning of the game is so oh my God.
I'm gonna go back to the sideline copy because I think it's a good thing just to give Juju his flowers like you just did. But shout out to Kareem Hunt here, man, in pass pro. Picks up the blitzer, just erases him off the screen.
Come here, get out of here. Yeah,
it just so Mahomes has enough time and structure to go ahead and get that ball out. But I do want to go to the sideline cop because hey, this is just about Juju beating guys at the bottom of the screen. This ain't even that boy up there, number 5, getting beat by Juju. this is Rasul Douglas getting beat on that dig route. And again, if you're gonna run man-to-man coverage, you better have a hell of a complement of DBs. This is our wide receiver 4/5 this year. So you better have some great DBs if you want to try and go man-to-man versus these guys this year. And again, this is, even though the left side of the offensive line kind of loses Joe Tooney just dies slowly out there. It's enough time within structure to get this dig off to Juju.
The funny part about this game, man, as soon as Kyer Elam came in, I was like, "Oh,
it's over.
It's over. It is over." Because
I
knew Pat's eyes had to light up as soon as he came in the game.
They were cooked. He was out.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
you hate to see injuries, but for him, that was over, bro.
You've got everything available to you as far as the playbook is concerned to be able to attack these guys. And look, hey, I'm sorry to tell you guys, y'all want to complain about injuries? We had to play Kyrie Elam, but guess what? Rasheed Rice is out, and we got a backup left tackle in. I shouldn't even say backup, a fourth string left tackle. It should be a left guard.
And y'all play when Tyrann Mathieu went down. I ain't trying to hear that boost.
Kareem Hunt just getting some tough yardage again. The run game last year, it was efficient enough, really down the stretch just to get us to the Super Bowl. But ultimately there was a lot that was left to be desired as far as that's concerned. Let me see real quick. Hold on. Did I? Oh wait, hold on. This is gonna mess it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I tried this earlier and it didn't end up working. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to allow me to do it right. Yeah, okay. Because the on the field aspect of it just works, but the completion aspect of it doesn't work for some reason. It's weird. I can't do. Sorry. I know I'm just playing with the filters, guys. I apologize. I wanted to make sure I grabbed it right. All right, here we go. All right, here's the next password. There we go. Sorry, a little troubleshooting in the middle of there we go.
Number 5. Number 5's on the field.
You know what that means.
Little Kareem Hunt to the bottom of the screen, first down, get a little bit extra yards. He ended up getting a face mask by Milano there. So this is the start of the next drive. We end up running that in for a touchdown the rest of the way. And just a little dub off again, first down, get a few extra yardage, and obviously Milano makes that mistake and ends up getting an extra 15 yards for Hunt there.
Way to get vertical, Kareem.
Their backs and linebackers are late to react, especially trying to react to that motion across the field. Hollywood.
And that's one of the things as far as playing Andy Reid, especially in a playoff game, is concerned. Like, you get to the end of these games, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, guys, we've seen so many things, manner of motions, shifts, bunches. We don't know where these guys are coming from. So you play a little bit of a half step slower and trying to react to some of these things.
Yeah, lots of window dressing once they get into the playoffs.
And there's Travis Kelce, a little out route, and he does what he does best. He finds a little bit extra yardage after the fact.
Clutch drive, man.
Mm-hmm. They get open
when they need it. So I don't understand. I don't understand. Maybe I'm
a little sick. Get vertical.
You go ahead, DG.
it just kills me because people can sit and watch Mahomes play and see things like this, and I think for a lot of people, it's starting to just become second nature.
Get bored.
They're used to it. Yeah, and you get bored when you see Joe Burrow or Lamar or Josh do it or something like that. Then it's like, oh, okay, he actually stepped up in that moment or whatever. But when Pat does it, it's kind of like, oh yeah, we forgot about that. But these are the drives that are the reasons why none of those guys have rings.
Makes a play when it counts.
Right.
Yep. And once again, you want to play man to man? Good luck running with Xavier Worthy across the field. Teron Johnson, you ain't never had a shot, brother.
Right. Yeah.
Brother.
That mesh is gonna kill you every single time you try and play man to man. More window dressing with Xavier coming across in motion, of course, creates a little bit of confusion here with Hamlin and Bernard. Hamlin is going to end up taking Kelce in man coverage. Milano ends up picking Teron. But actually, that is what I wanted to point out here. Look at where Kelsey runs this route.
Yep.
Doesn't hit him. Doesn't hit him. Doesn't hit him.
A great situation awareness draft because I hate it when receivers. I hate it in college, high school when you run a crosser or a mesh concept. Do not hit the defender. You just got to get in his way.
Just
wait to the last minute and then make him run, make him bubble around you.
Make him have to go around you. Then he hits into Milano, and all of a sudden Xavier Worthy, who already has a head start as far as the speed is concerned, gets even wider. So that's Travis Kelce being Travis Kelce and running the route the right way. And those are the things that gets people on the field, whether it's a Jalen Rose that's coming in or a Juju that stays on the field. Those are the little things that you have to do in Andy Reid's offense to earn his trust to be out there on a consistent basis.
Yeah, exactly. And really, the football nerds are the ones that really notice stuff like that. Casual fan won't notice those kind of things.
No failed screenplay there.
Yeah. You get a bad grip on this one. Trying to get it out.
This is a good point. This is a good thing to point out because we may not mention it later on. But shout out to Creed Humphrey, made the adjustment from last season in which he was having issues with the snap. Didn't really see that at all last year.
Absolutely.
From the 93rd ranked player in the NFL.
Crazy.
Little throwaway here. We'll get to. Let me go back to the top of the drop, see if there's anything that Mahomes missed. I think we're just going to get straight man across the board here with a little too high look, right? Well, they dropped 8. Never mind. They ended up dropping 8, a little bit of a spy. And, kind of really what happens here. Von Miller beats him a little bit on the inside. Joe Tooney, he does a pretty solid job as far as pushing him out the pocket. If Mahomes maybe escapes out this way, there's a chance. But ultimately, the drop 8 coverage works. Everything else is pretty well covered up here. Mahomes forced to throw it away there.
Good D. Just ran a little simple quarters with a spy. These are the times when you need to take advantage of that with like a screenplay, draw, or even I know it's the playoffs, use Pat's legs. I know we don't run QB draws ever, but in situations like this, you can take advantage of his legs and make Milano commit and make other guys keep aware of where he's at on the field. So
yeah, and ultimately there's not too many plays for third and
drop 9.
Yeah, for 3rd and 17 from inside the 20. So I believe these last 2 plays, obviously the Chiefs are up 3 here. This is after they were able to stop Josh Allen on that 4th down there. They're gonna run a little play action, trust Pacheco to get out in the route, run somebody over, and Pacheco barely stays in bounds, or actually did not end up staying in bounds. They ended up ruling that up. He did not stay in bounds. This is indicative of what happens. Like, end of the day, they're going to trust Patrick Mahomes with the football. They're going to trust Patrick Mahomes with the football to be able to convert these moments. Does a great job in the play design. DeMar Hamlin's going to be the one responsible for Isaiah Pacheco out of the backfield. He's going to get caught up in all the trash. Is that Noah Gray? No, it's Justin Watson. Again, another little underrated aspect of it. Justin Watson doing a really good job just getting his way. That's all you got to do, and Pacheco finishes the pass play very effectively with a hard-nosed run. But again, these little things, Justin Watson is obviously off this team. We'll talk about that with the wide receivers. Who steps up to do those little things is going to be the key for getting these guys on the field. And we'll go ahead and see this last one, the Samaje Perine that ultimately sealed the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. And it's just going to be the simple, hey, we're going to run all of these guys up here this way, and whoever out of these 3 guys is responsible for him is going to get caught. And that's a simple aspect of the play. 43, you're responsible. Good luck dodging 6 bodies.
Too much.
P. Ryan is able to get that angle.
First down.
Finishes inbounds, finishes with the first down, and that's the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. So ultimately, just a little bit of a clutch drive talk and major takeaway as far as this is concerned that I wanted to end off on. Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the league. There's nobody that should be trusted more in those clutch moments, as we just saw, for that reason. And at the end of the day, he has all the magic, all the talent that made him that best quarterback in the league. It's just about the surroundings.